Greetings and welcome to the mat. This month's yoga practice is highlighted within this theme of activating our creative compass. And so a lot of the postures and just some of the internal concepts and concentrations will be around the sacral energy center and the third eye, the ajna and svadhisthana. Let's find a comfortable seated pose. Always welcome blocks and modifications as you practice alone. We're going to sit in Virasana, hero's pose. Take about 3 to 5 deep breaths just to ground and be present. Feel this alignment through the body. Allowing the breath to be like a portal, a gateway. You'll remain here, just smoothing out the breath, practicing Ujjayi breathing. Or you'll take the next moments to further adjust your practice, setting up for a time of Kapalabhati, fire breathing. Arms are going to go out in extension with the shoulder line. Palms turn forward. Keep your thumbs pointing up. Take your fingertips in. Drawing the ribs in and creating some of this active support is through forward. And we pump deep off. If you are not familiar with this breathing technique, I advise you just to practice deep breathing, Ujjayi breathing over the next period of time. If you're okay to continue, root off, close the eyes, gaze to the ajna, and begin. Complete. Thumbs point towards each other, fingers flare up. We breathe in deeply. Locking the energy in. In a calm way, exhale and lower the arms. Fingertips touch the earth. Inhale, breath, we sweep up. Joining your palms together down in front of your heart center. And connecting into your sankalpa, your intention to activate our creative compass. We're going to find a creative way to move to downward facing dog. So take any in between motions or movements, alternative tabletop and child's pose. We are going to be creating a little mini flow, but we're just going to start this practice into downward facing dog. So even in a sense like a structure for our poses, we can connect to kind of creative ways to hear the body messages. Instead of working so much from our mind and our thoughts about it, we can connect more intuitively. We are going to try to link up into our breath. Please move lower down on our inhale, tabletop pose. Exhale, breath, child's pose. We take the full breath cycle. Imagine you could breathe directly to your sacrum. Inhale, drawing that energy to the brow center. Exhale, relax the brow center. Relax across the sacrum. Breathing in to our tabletop. Exhale, breath down, fixing. Breathing in, the right leg lifts. Breathing out, the foot comes down. Breathing in, the left leg lifts. Breathing out, the foot comes down. Inhale to our tabletop. We're going to do 3 hip circles, one direction. Pausing in that modified up dog, go the opposite direction. Focus on your movement from the hips. That third time completing, we arrive to that modified up dog, bending the elbows till we lower down onto the belly. Breathe along the way. Set up for cobra. Inhalation, rock. One more breath cycle. Check in with your neck, face. Opening yourself in a creative way to your body and those higher channels of your mind, of your spiritual practice within yoga. We're going to move up and back. Your exhale, creating that connection nice and slow. Focus on a whole breath cycle of Balasana, child's pose. Inhale, tabletop becomes cow. Exhale, cow. When we're working with our sacral center, we're opening up blocked energy around the hips. Relates to our emotions. Final time to your cow pose. Tuck the toes under, draw the hips back, tucking slightly until we're feeling more elongated. And then lifting through the leg. Dog pose, right leg to the sky. Bend the knee. Create some stability through your shoulders. You're gonna open 3 times, swing direction. And stay in the open. Plugging it in as if there's a block between the thighs. Breathing into the joy of your practice. Straighten the leg. Square the hip. Exhale, breath, foot down. Body scan. Opening up. Creative little micro movements that better let you hear and feel the intuition. Left leg lifts up. Shoulders are stable. Then the knee flex the foot. And same idea. Round. The opposite direction. And that final time we lift up and we open. Ujjayi breathing. Uddiyana Bandha, deep work through our core. Lengthen the leg. Let the hips square first. Exhale, foot returns. Breathing in slowly to our tabletop. Inhale, lengthening. We're going to rise up onto the shins. Inhale. Sweeping up. You're going to be slowly sitting back. Rose pose. So these may be moments where you might be at a level in your practice, you just stay up. You don't move with your breath. You just stay still and focus on some alignment principles. If you want to place a block in between that space, we'll practice a few more of those. Where you using a way of releasing tension, releasing thought, and kind of connecting into the sacred flow. We go slow and we resist dropping down fast, and I keep my legs engaged the whole time. Final time here. So as we release it down and we find that hero's pose, we're going to take the arms forward, release all the way Balasana. Please readjust and feel more situated, more comfortable. Imagining that soft, glowing orange through the sacral. As we breathe in, we're broadening and opening up various inner costal muscles. Think of our inner vertebrae swelling with oxygen and prana. We're drawing that energy to the point where our forehead may touch a mat with love. While we breathe out, imagining how that energy can softly draw back down the center channel and then cross center. One last time. And then we're gonna come back up, tabletop. Rising up through the strength of our legs. Right leg to the sky. Inhale. Stepping forward, we'll find our lunge. We're going to be nice and strong in that back leg. Spinal twist as we exhale. Connecting to your inner creative compass. We're going to explore some movement where we go down with the hand. We go open and we're making like Skandasana to the back side. You might have to creatively find the use of props or modifications. If you need further guidance, you can message me. We're now going to draw as low as we can through the center, using, of course, wisdom and intuition about our body. When we make our way back to the top of the mat, step it back where that right leg is going to lift up. And exhale breath. We take it through a flow. And you can skip these, of course. You can pause on tabletop and create cat-cow practice. Through the dance of our movement and our breath, we're slowing down the cycle of thought and reactivity. Inhale, other side. Exhale. Each one of our body temples moves through these sacred poses in different creative ways. Fine-tuning yours and understanding it through intuition is part of our self-knowing. Taking on some practice points here. If it ever bothers your shoulder to do arm extensions, your hand can always sit to the hip. Ujjayi Pranayama. And in our creative way, we're going to find Skandasana to the opposite side. We've got to come through the center, slowly draw over. And we're staying for a few rounds of breath. Stay really strong through your legs, your bandhas. Soften the face. When we draw in that creative aspect of practice through until we're supported, plant the hands either side of the front foot. Inhale, breath to extend up. Feel that length in your body, square off shoulders, focus. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, breath lowering. You know what you can create here as your connection. Maybe it's through this place of resting back, resetting your feet, resetting your hands. You may come down into Balasana, child's pose. You may sit in Virasana, hero pose. The contemplation, the meditation, the theme, the invitation this month. Activate our creative compass. So where in your own yoga practice, life practice, gardening, specific creative pursuits, cooking, the way we dress our hair,
What ways can positively influence you? We're going to be coming to the top of the mat over the next round of breath. Uttanasana. Inhale, rising up. Finding that mountain pose. Stretching up, inhale. Exhale, breath. Step the feet out a little wider. Interlace your fingers together at your sacrum. Lifting up through the heart. This may be your level of practice today. If you can, follow through with this flow. We bend down like we're taking Utkatasana till the belly rests to the thighs, keeping the openness in our heart. We begin to forward fold. And without letting the legs straighten right away, think of progressing that through the next 5 to 7 breath cycles. You want to keep as much contact in the lower area of your abdomen to your thighs, and at the same time, you're imagining creating a hollowing out effect under the navel center to slightly behind the navel center. Letting tension go, being at your personal edge. We don't let the elbows lock out. Breathing out, slowly release. Hands down. Lift the heart. Step your right foot to the back of the mat. Finding a lunge here. We're going to draw the back knee down. Moments to open across the front of the pelvis. A creative way to experience this. Wow, Sally, the little bird just took this one. I kind of did a little air bounce and then let her out. I think it's going to be okay, guys. So, prepare part of our practice. Move the front leg into pigeon. So we want to draw the hips up and back. And follow your body's intuition here in terms of adjustments and setup. Eventually, we're looking to create a pigeon pose where we're going to lift the heart. Relaxing any tension across the sacrum before we come down, using the navel center. Let this be your version of the pigeon pose, finding that creative stance of how wide to go with the elbows for your neck comfort, or having other forms of props. We're trying to make a contact point through the brow center and our internal awareness and practice is about creating connection to the subtle bodies, right? Energy bodies of our creativity and intuition. So very sense of a kind of a broad theme. Your intention, your personal development of your sacral center, your body stomach, our third eye, Now, ajna. These are very important in developing more of those higher states of consciousness. Get into the subtle flow and release of emotions and thoughts that don't serve us. Patterns that might block the flow of creativity, block the flow of our intuition. Take a couple more deep breaths. My inner vision again, this idea that we're starting our inhale at the sacral plexus, finding that expansion and broadening, opening through our body to the point of the brow center. We hold a few moments of that inhale. And we exhale slowly, drawing Uddiyana Bandha, Mula Bandha, using Ujjayi breathing. Oh, lovely, the pigeon pose. We're gonna find a creative way to counter. This may feel in alignment with you, creating what may be known as a foot dog pose. I'm gonna drop back, staying engaged, and then begin to pivot around. The hips need to lower as the feet readjust. Inhale, breath, spinning the heart up. Creating that transition, possible flow. Being present as we explore, breathing in, looking forward, and then we breathe out, step the feet to the hips. Breathing in, lengthen. Breathing out, forward, fold. Inhale and lengthen. We now step with the opposite foot back. That being on the left side. Draw into our low lunge, intentionally making this to where we create that opening through the front of the pelvis. Time to release out through the mouth so we can find creative solutions for ourselves along the way. My guidance is there just as a tool, but it's so important we're linking up into our intuition. I'm going to be moving now to pigeon pose. We're drawing the hips slightly up and back, over. Moments here. In your expression, as we spend some time to connect more to our subtle body, so that practice this month again is in relationship to Svadhisthana, Ajna, energy centers. We master our breathing. We use visualization as part of that mystical, energetic componentry to the breath. We have a main channel, but we also have these two sub important channels. And so the way when we're working with our pranayamas, we're activating that subtle life force of the Kundalini, Shakti Kundalini. And there's a pathway or subtle body circuits of how the Ida and the Pingala are moving their way through and around, intersecting. So that connection breaks off at Svadhisthana, and then that connection reunifies through the brow center, the ajna. And as we are kind of thinking how in our practice of knowing ourselves, we're becoming aware of that transformation. So we bring it up through, and then when we breathe out, we're just softly aware of how that energy has been more purified, more transcended, and ascended, and then we're bringing it back down so that our system is never being depleted or overshot with too much energy, which is an important part. We're gonna draw up on our inhale, connecting Uddiyana Bandha. We rise up. We connect to possibly drawing over and around on the inhale, lifting up through the front body. Exhaling breath. We may have that intuition, that creative way of flowing down through. Maybe even creating a little bit of alternate movement into our up dog. Eventually we transition. The final time here at downward facing dog. Exhale. Slowly draw your energy forward. We're going to bring ourselves to a Malasana, yogi squat. And just checking in with that personal sense of a yoga squat pose in your practice. That is conducive to pranayama, conducive to the intention, the meditation this month. If you were able to find Malasana, but this next part of the instructions or cues out are not appropriate to where you're at for practice, so you creatively draw away from kind of backtracking how we got into the pose. You would create that pathway out. If it's okay to kind of be here and explore a creative transition, you're going to be drawing the hips down. Uddiyana Bandha comes in very deeply, which would prepare you for a Navasana boat pose. We're kind of exploring that connection point again at the lower navel to the tops of the thighs. Wow, just kind of staying here and trying to hold that in uniform. Or union rather, into the uniform of the pose is quite a feat. So that might be where you're at today, and then you just creatively practice, again, listening to the intuition of your body. We want to create Navasana. You can develop your yoga over time. We never let the asana become more important than how we are connecting into peace and harmony, balance and unification our breath work. We're gonna exhale, grab the feet, find what's known as Baddha Konasana, and maybe allow yourself to be upright for the duration of this. Start upright, and as your body sends that intuitive knowledge of releasing, then we might practice something that brings us eventually forward. At some point, you might merge, like say a yoga block between the floor and your forehead. Keep a long spine for most of the way down. Eventually, forehead may come down. And there may be a little rounding through the thoracic area, thoracic area. Even inhale, lift up a little bit, send the feet slightly forward, open them like a book. And bridge that energy down. Being activated in our personal creative compass lets us know that we're not competing, we're not egoifying, we're not forcing a capacity of ourselves beyond what is truly authentic and real for us. Strengthening through the heart, drawing the legs up, and eventually the legs will go forward. Taking a moment here, lifting through the chest. Some of us may just stay here. If you feel really comfortable in where you're at today, we might turn the palms, our fingers forward, that is. Drawing up, we're going to hold a tabletop pose. Keep the eyes up. Keep the chin slightly tucked. And if you're okay with it, we'll work in a final time of Bali Bati or Fire's breathing, Fire's breath. Inhale, sitting down. Come into a cross leg position or a half lotus practice. Preparing for a spinal twist. For the leg that's on top or forward, twist that direction. Inhale, unwind, and we're going to go forward. Lowering down, possibly again making a contact point through the fascia without losing the systems. Inhale, breath from the core. We come up and we switch cross of our ankles or our knees. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, breath to twist. We, along the way, as we learn about activating, we notice that this helps to push energy through the system. So in a way, we have to kind of maintain or keep up with that along the way through those various different centers so that we don't create blockages in some other area or zone. We'll unwind and bring that forward motion. Forehead releases down. Ujjayi pranayama. Inhale, breath to rise up. You'll make your way down onto the back. We'll practice Apanasana, knees to chest. They feel good. Let your body stretch it out. And usually being here, setting up, we'll relax in the back, shoulders. We'll go here tonight, feet to the outer edges of the mat. Or maybe you're doing this practice during the day. Could be done in the morning as well. Where I'm at tonight. We're gonna draw the arms out and the knees to the right. You might use blocks for your legs. You might stay here. You might have a creative way to deepen. Maybe that includes flexing left foot. And then over to the other side. Kind of connecting. So if we find that we tend to get in our head a lot, in our thoughts, our brain level a lot, we can learn creative solutions within ourselves of getting out of that area of the brain. And we connect to what supports more of the intuition. So in your version, that could be a creative release on your exhales. It might be something you do visually through the third eye to kind of pop the thought bubbles. Just let it be consistent and let it be part of your practice, your journey. We'll do the yoga movement that brings us to center. Lower bandhas engaged. And then exhale to the opposite side with that shoulder release. Tension, release tension in the face. And choose the variation that harmonizes and and balances your practice on this side. Internally contemplating without it being like a busy thought process. It's just a contemplation on ourselves to activate our creative compass. How can you connect to that? By just applying our energy and this physical representation of this pose to imagine that it's wringing out whatever may be blocking us emotionally, energetically, maybe types of thought patterns that aren't serving us. In order to have that active creative flow where things are coming to us intuitively, we are shifting out of the monkey mind. Monkey mind isn't too intuitive. It's very rational, very linear. It's very object focused. Use a core to come up. Take a moment here, bringing into final closing of your practice. We want to honor and take the time for releasing, letting the body relax. Have a creative way for your Shavasana, like maybe legs up the wall, maybe a form of a type of restorative posture. Any sensitivity in the back, placing something under the back of the leg, especially through the upper thighs, doing things to reset the body, such as the pelvis, the shoulders, the arms to the hands, the ankles to the feet, the head. Draw away from the action. And trust this process of how your body, in its creative, innate knowing, from that deep inner compass that could be part of our spiritual embodiment. We don't have to think our way through relaxation. We don't have to be performing actions. It's a dissolve of that material of self, a dissolve of our identity, our persona. The depth of your experience is your own. Yoga is a wonderful journey. Part of ancient systems that have been offering teachings in various ways, possibly hundreds, possibly thousands of years, in different depictions and time period. The more modern day yoga tends to be physically based, but you can feel it when you enter different higher states of yourself, of your breathing, of your body, of your consciousness. You know that there's much more to yoga. And that you are just a part of the creative life force energy
You can continue to be here in a state of relaxation, receptivity, or meditation. I appreciate you joining. Have a wonderful resting time.
Namaste.